Hello guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel Football Therapy with me, your host Yan, and I do hope you're doing well, friends. I really do hope that. And welcome back to, I suppose, just another new video. As you can see, no studio today, no press conference. In fact, it's just my office. Some of you prefer it, so I'm going to mix it up a little bit so you can just see me in my little workspace, the Chelsea shirts behind me, the memorabilia on the wall. You know, it's all good. We're feeling good-ish. Chelsea drew, of course, to Fulham in the Premier League, and we have a lot of questions, more questions than answers. We've come from this high-octane dopamine hit of sensational transfers, an excellent transfer window, the best transfer window we have ever seen, or one has ever seen, buying some incredible players, including world-class World Cup winning Enzo Fernandez, who, by the way, did look incredible on the night. We do understandably have frustrations with certain players' performances of late. Mount, Gallagher, Ziyech, Havertz. I think it's going to take some time, and we're going to talk about that today. Graham Potter, because understandably, there was a lot of frustrations after that result yesterday. I am quite philosophical about it, agnostic to a degree, because Fulham are a really well coached club, coached team with a manager who's been with them for a long time, and he settled the structure, and the forwards have had enough time to have chemistry together to know how to score goals, and we don't have any of that yet. And what we do have is, believe it or not, a good coach. Many of you might not think that, but, you know, objectively, Graham Potter's a good coach, and we're going to talk about moving forwards today. Also, a positive feel-good story is we've gained 1 point in the title race. Satire. Of course, Arsenal have lost to Sean Dyche's Everton, which is just great stuff, isn't it? It's really lovely feel-good stuff, and it makes me feel good, and it makes you, I imagine, should you not be an Arsenal fan, it will make you feel good as well. A quick piece of housework. I'd urge you guys to drop a like on the video to support the content. It's a click of the finger, and it makes me feel good. And you're welcome to subscribe too, of course. And you should hit the bell. Guys, some personal news. I've got a new kitten. How adorable is that? I know we're talking about Graham Potter, but I've just got to get that in there. A baby new kitten called Mia. My niece named her. She's sleeping right now, and she's only allowed in the living room for the moment, but eventually you might get to meet Mia, the newest member of the Football Therapy family. Go and check out my Instagram if you want to see a picture of her. At Football Yannick on Instagram. Right, Graham Potter. Is he the man to take us forward? Because I've seen all kinds of sensational and radical shouts. People calling for Jose Mourinho, which is a sobering concept. Excuse me. Yes, I don't think Jose Mourinho returning in 2023 is the answer for this long-term rebuild with, you know, the ambition of satellite clubs from the new ownership model. And they want the first team coach to be in communication with a team of technical directors and recruitment directors and, you know, the owners often, and talk about satellite clubs and an expansive project and everything. Yes, Jose Mourinho doesn't feel like the man for that. I'm gonna be honest. And as things stand, I do continue to feel Graham Potter is the man for that. I think he was heavily vetted. Granted, a lot of people think he was hired very quickly, but the new ownership knew about Potter nearly from the beginning. They had ambitions, they had designs and a structure to build a really big project, starting and essentially ending with Chelsea, but a lot of stuff in between. But Chelsea will reap the benefits of the long-term project, of the young Project 2030, the young players, the long amortized contracts, the best players, best young players in the world. And of course, buying up other clubs to send out for experience so you don't loan to other clubs who have no intention of properly nurturing your player. It's a great scheme, it's a great plan, and it makes sense. And you need a emotionally empathetic and intelligent individual to be a part of that. And yes, Graham Potter ticks all of those boxes. And the football nerds will tell you, I'm not saying I'm a football nerd, but the geeks and statisticians, statisticians? Those guys, the hipsters, will tell you, yes, he is a good coach. Now, when he started at Chelsea, he looked very good. It looked like we were just taking a lot more risks straight after what was a poor run of form under Tuchel. We're playing a lot more forward balls. Now, I think Enzo Fernandez will bring that. I think, Andrew Santos, if he comes into the midfield, which I think there's a good chance he will bring that. I think the return of João Felix will be a most welcome one. I think it will be important to see more appearances from David Datro, Fofana, and, Madueke maybe getting more time to understand the structure. One thing that's been a little bit lost here is Chelsea are structurally sound defensively. We've had 3 consecutive clean sheets and a win in between those 2 draws. Is that right? Or 2? Yeah, I think so. I believe so. Well, we beat Palace, essentially. We've drawn against Liverpool, and we've drawn against Fulham, who, again, good team, and we were away at Anfield. I'm not trying to excuse what ultimately are poor results and underwhelming performances as a whole, and I do include the 1-0 win against Crystal Palace in that as well. Of course, Crystal Palace haven't been in scintillating form themselves, though a good side with a good manager and good young players. It hasn't been great, but I feel like everyone knows that. There's no excuses. Graham Potter, he's not giving you sensational headlines. He's not giving you the theatre that perhaps fans want. They want him to show anger because he's just keeping this demeanour of, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to get really wound up or theatrical in the press conferences because I'm in for the long haul. This is just what it is right now. And seemingly that's what all the owners are going for. I feel like Potter won't get sacked unless next season it goes chicken oriental. I mean, we're downhill. We need, Reece James started yesterday. He didn't look great though. I mean, he obviously really good to see the banners and the tifos of him. He feels the love. He is probably, as things stand, our best player up there with Enzo and Thiago Silva. Ben Chilwell came off the bench. I want to see both of those fullbacks starting. I don't want to see Cucurella. I want to see Chilwell and James starting. I do think Potter will rotate midfielders. I think he has to eventually bring in like a Kovacic over, because to play next to Enzo Fernandez, clearly we saw those offensive eights, Mount and Gallagher, not working. Potter will change it. Just as he wasn't too afraid to throw in João Felix after a day in being in England, just as he wasn't afraid to throw in Enzo Fernandez just after a day in being in England, and, brought Mudryk off the bench almost immediately and started him in this game. Turns out Mudryk had a heavy head cold and was only going to play an hour, but then played 45 minutes, and clearly he wasn't getting into the game, but it sounds like there was reasons for that. And you add it all together, and I just feel like, dude, in a couple months' time, we could see a double pivot of Enzo Fernandez and N'Golo Kante with João Felix playing in the 10. I'm not writing off Mason Mount. You guys know I think he's been such a valuable player, and he is a professional and an intelligent, respectful young man, and he can have great value and productivity in the Chelsea side. It's just not happening at the moment. So take him out. Simple. I think everyone's asking for the same thing. Asking for Mason Mount to be removed from the team right now isn't saying you don't think he's going to be at Chelsea for a long time. It's just saying right now we need to see some development. I think Kovacic next to Fernandez, and of course João Felix back in the team in the 10, Madueke on the right, Mudryk on the left. And yes, we want to see David Datro Fofana. I do too. But the only thing that's really keeping me reserved on this is we saw in that 60 minutes when João Felix played against Fulham, of course, fresh in the minds Fulham that we've just drawn with. They looked incredible together. João Felix seems to have brought something out of Kai Havertz on the pitch. And obviously it's a very small sample size, but you've seen it in training clips as well. It's those two combining. Chelsea have published training videos of those two seemingly knowing where each other are. So despite Havertz frustrating me, and of course many of you guys, he's frustrated many of us of late, I would give him another chance with João Felix on the pitch with him to combine. And of course the centre-backs and Kepa, fine. The bottom square of the pitch is fine. Kepa, Thiago Silva, Badiashile and Enzo, even though I think Enzo might benefit from playing in a double pivot a bit more to have a little bit more license to sort of be a bit more creative. We sort of need that. But the clean sheets is pleasing. That genuinely is a positive that some of us need to absorb and digest and understand, even though it's frustrating. We're not scoring goals, but that must come. Which leads me on to Potter again, because of course he's a big talking point. He'll see this. His Brighton side was I'm loath to say it again, but in the top four when we got them, they were free scoring goals. They looked incredible. And their players weren't even that good. Their midfielders were good, but their attackers weren't necessarily that good, but they were free scoring. I believe he can do it. Not only that, he will have profound support at Chelsea through other coaches, other, like we said, the think tank, the recruitment staff, the football technical directors. There'll be a collective brain pushing towards development and making this better. This is what Man City did for Pep Guardiola. They prepared all of this prior to his arrival. This has been built around Graham Potter, who, by the way, is yet to have a pre-season. It's going to take time. Dropping a theatre villain character, hero, anti-hero, like a Jose Mourinho or something else, into the team not only won't be conducive to success in the plan, but could be detrimental even for the right now. Clearly, he's an emotionally intelligent guy, Graham Potter. I don't think anyone's unhappy. He knows how to communicate with players. Ziyech came straight back in. He had a smile on his face in training after he was fuming about the PSG transfer fallout. Clearly, Graham sat him down and just chilled things out. I'm not saying Ziyech was good in that game and, absolutely should have started and played, but I think the communication is key. I know it's boring as hell, but in instability and in the transitional period, you need that. I just think this is a pill we've got to swallow. It's just teething issues. It's just like I kept saying a few videos ago when it first got bad. I said to you guys, it's gonna get worse before it gets better, and it hasn't necessarily got worse. It's got worse because it's continued, and therefore that makes it worse. But it's going to take time, guys. So I wanted to reflect on that and talk to you guys about that. Please do drop a like if you enjoy the content and you like this type of video. I'll be really pleased to see that. Thank you for commenting and subscribing. And I'll speak to you guys very soon. Peace.